Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below in the comments section. Always happy to hear from you. In the description below, you'll also find a link to the Discord. Why not come check it out? It's free to join. Once in the general chat area, just mention a member of staff and we'll be happy to help you out with anything you may need. Okay, so let's get into it. Effectively, what we'll be looking here is, once again, we have a couple of options. This we can play around with this third wave a little bit, depending on which one of these we are following. This one is looking for an additional fifth wave here. The other one is looking for basically the fourth to complete here, and potentially this being a bigger corrective structure. So we're going to go over both of these options and sort of the subwaves within them, which can potentially look to confirm either of the options taking place. So we were talking about the potential of a diagonal being within this structure and looking for this potentially to be a fifth wave looking to complete as a diagonal. So I've just temporarily drawn these off of these high points and low points here. For the most part, it is okay. This can shift around a little bit because in reality it only needs to join the first and the third and the second and the fourth. So I've just drawn this here as sort of a guide in case we wouldn't want to see this basically drop down too low, otherwise it would compromise the wedge shape, and then it would either have to be expanding or alternatively we have something else going on. So if we were looking at this, I'd want to actually start to see this move away here. Basically within this structure, we'd want to call this completed into this point of this 23,204. But the only way we can do that really, if we're looking at this as a diagonal, is potentially looking at this as a 1, 2 as a flat. I don't really like it too much, but we need to be careful because we have a 5-wave move option, which could be looking for the potential of this actually looking to break down deeper. So we just need to give it a bit of time and see what happens here. We can argue that we do have a we could have something like a triangle playing out here, where we have something moving more sideways like this, and we could sort of just be range bound here, where this becomes a an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, and actually we look to break to the downside, and then we would have to look at that as a more complex shape, where this is a W, X, and then a Y. Alternatively, this could be a series of 1, 2, 1, 2. So we just got to be a bit careful with this and see how we react. If it is a triangle, effectively what we'd be looking for within the structure is actually looking to move down. We will go over that and actually. So that 23,079 would be a 1-to-1 if this is a triangle and we look to break to the downside. So that could then mark a completed shape. But we're going to go over that shape in a second. We're going to look mainly at the upside first, and then we'll look at that downside separately. So make sure you stay tuned to see all the different options. Okay, so effectively what we'd want to see here is, like I said, we want to see this start to move away from this point. It could come down a little bit more and potentially retest this channel, but the structure wouldn't be great then. We would want to see this actually look to move away if this is actually playing out. So confirmation, if we were looking at this as a 1, 2, would actually be looked by crossing back above this 23,664. If we do have a move above that, then we can start to argue we're developing some 5-wave structure where this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. There wouldn't be a lot of room for this 4th and 5th to develop unless we start to get some extension here, which we could argue that we could be getting over here, where this becomes a 1, 2, and then we look to break to the upside. There's nothing confirmed here, though. Like I said, we need to move above that 23,666, and if we do that, then basically we can look for that confirmation to the upside of a impulse. But we just have to be careful because I don't really like this structure as an impulse. It could also just be an A, B, C, and then we look to break down. So we'd want to take out these high points and then start to actually get some better structure if we are looking at this. So this should play out if it is a diagonal in basically 3-wave structure for this wave 3, and effectively this wave 3 cannot go higher than 25,008. If we do develop this to the upside here, it can't go higher than this because this would be longer than wave 1. So it's, if we do move up past this 2508, effectively it would invalidate this diagonal potential. So that's still something we're looking out for within the structure here. Let's get a look at We're still sitting within the support box area, and like I was saying, it is possible that we could complete here if we're looking at this move and we're looking for this as a 1-2. If this is looking at this as a regular impulse here, potentially we could come down a bit lower. We could push down towards the 786 still, and but basically we'd have to be looking at this as a more complex structure where this is an A, B, and then potentially we're looking for a W, X, and a Y. So if that is the case, what we'd be having to be careful of is that 1-to-1 could actually bring us down here to this 22,710. So that's just something we need to keep an eye on. If we lose this low point of this 22,670, it would invalidate this potential of extending up. Confirmation would only come by this 25,884 though, if we do see this play out. Like I said, I'm a bit cautious about what's happening here in the middle. I'd want to see what happens off the back of this. Like I said, if we start to develop impulsively here to the upside, we could either have an A, B, C, or alternatively we could have a 1-2, then this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we start to push up. If we do push up, we need to just be cautious of this top channel line again, this 24,198. Possibly we could come back up, retest this, and look to break down. We'll go over the sort of bearish options within in a second, but let's have a look at the other thing we talked about yesterday. So if we do develop a 5-wave move from here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we'd have to allow for the fact we could have some further extension where this becomes an additional 1, 2, and then we get this additional third and fourth as well. So if we do develop 5-wave structure from here, like I said, we can move this fourth around a little bit. I wouldn't really like to keep it here, but it is possible. So we need to just bear that in mind, that it could actually complete further back here, and then we get something like this as a 1 with a flat for 2, and then a series of 1s and 2s looking to actually push this move quite a lot higher. Confirmation, well, I wouldn't say confirmation, but the increasing the possibility of this comes by pushing above this 24,790. We'd have to then wait to see if we get this additional fourth wave if this does play out, because we'd have some additional structure here, and this structure would have to meet the criteria first before this one can be validated. So that is looking at basically this option here. We'd have to complete this first before we could sort of validate any further extension. So we need to move up past this 25,848 if this is the case, and then maintain this low point of this 22,760. Like I said, we could potentially move down one more time here. This Y wave could fall short, and we could just come down a little bit lower. If we look at this as an ABC, 1-to-1 would be this, basically the 786. So if we do progress down here, this could be an interesting zone to see how we react on. There is some previous support and resistance here, so that could be an interesting area. Okay, so we're going to look at the downside now. So this is looking at the potential that actually we have completed further back, and that was looking at this in this way. So basically, we've been talking about that this could be a bigger corrective structure, this whole mess up the top here where this becomes an A. We look at this as a B. We also talked about the fact this B wave might not be complete. If we push up again, we could see an A, a B, and a C, and then that could still be within this B wave, and then we actually look to break to the downside still. So this is something we're going to have to just see how it plays out. For as long as we hold this 24,255 area, we can argue that we are actually potentially in either a W, X, and a Y to the downside, or alternatively an A, a B, and a C, where we could potentially look to push down much lower if it's going to become an expanding flat. So these are quite tricky because they're sort of sneaky, the C waves. Often they catch you off guard. So the way we'd be looking at this is two ways. So if we're looking at for this ABC, effectively what we can argue is there's two ways that we're talking about. It's for as long as we hold below this 23,715, we have to just bear in mind that this could still be a 5-wave structure where this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here. This becomes a 4th wave because we come into this 4th wave target zone we were talking about, And then potentially we could actually look to move to the downside here one more time. So this target is slightly changed because we came up higher. So the 1236 is this 23115, and the lower end of this is actually increased slightly. So we're going to move this down a little bit here and sort of just adjust that. So this is a zone we could still actually look to move down to. If we do move down to this 22 in between this zone, we can argue that this could then be a 5-wave move completed. If we do get a move down like this with a 5th wave, effectively we would then be looking for a wave 2 to the upside, where this becomes a 1-2, and then we could actually look to break down for a wave 3 if we get a deeper move past this 21,951. So I would want to see this start to progress now. Like I said, either we're going to look at this as a 1-2 into this zone. If we get another breakdown, that would validate it, and it would basically put this other structure into the account quite nicely, especially if this develops as a triangle A, B, C, D, E, and then we break down. So let's just watch and see how this actually reacts here. I'd want to see another push up here. Invalidation of a triangle, though, comes, or at least the way we're looking at it, comes by moving above this 23,587 and below this point here of this this one here, this 23,230. If we move below that, that would invalidate the potential of a triangle here, and we would have to then look at the fact that this could just be, like I said, an additional series of 1s and 2s here. But if we're getting an additional series of 1s and 2s here, then I'd think that the extension option is taking place. So this is looking at it as a simple impulse, where this could become a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 without looking at extension within the first part here. So the other way of looking at this is with extension in that first part, which would actually be looking at something like this, where we could, like I said, be getting a series of moves. And what we could look at is that potentially, instead of counting this move as a 5-wave move into here, we could count it as a 1-2, and this could then be a 1-2, and then we actually start to break down. So this target zone is slightly different, and we do get some more additional waves here. So this third wave would be this 22,304. That would be confirmation of this 5-wave move, the teal one. However, we would be looking for a smaller move within here if this is the case, and that 1618 would be this 2270. So we've got to just see how these play out, because sometimes when you're doing these subwave counts, it could just be counted as an ABC, and then we get a B and a C, and it doesn't get that additional 4th and 5th. So that's why we've got to be careful with this. If we are looking at this potentially as a 1-2, what we'd want to see is either this start to break down here and start to get a bit more traction to it, and look to move past that zone we talked about, that 22,770. If we do actually start to break down deeper past that, then effectively we could look at this potential playing out, where we could look for these additional 4ths and 5ths, which could look to take us down towards this 2193 to this 21,649. So for the most part, it's still in limbo here, which of these options we are in. But for as long as we continue to set lower highs, and we fail to break above these points of this 22,144 and this 24,253, effectively we can continue to break down. If we do move up past these, like I said, we need to just be careful, because we can argue that this is over here as well, and then we could be looking for this retracement here, this 23,937 to this 23,669 would be a zone we could actually face further rejection. So we just need to be careful. This could just become a bit more complex shape, where this becomes an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, or a W, an X, and a Y, and then we move up higher here, face rejection, not being able to take out this high point, maybe retesting some of these zones, and then actually looking to break down further. So that's what I'm looking at currently. I want to see how we react from here. I want to see if we start to get some traction up here. Like I said, we can argue that we could be looking at a 1-2, and then we start to break up. Alternatively, this could just become an ABC, in which it would be more likely then that this triangle potential is playing out. The triangle wouldn't really fit into this option, but it could either be, like I said, a W, X, and a Y, and we come back down and retest this channel, or alternatively, we could be looking at a deeper move. So we're going to keep you up to date with the moves as we see them. Hope you found the video useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below in the comments section. Okay, everyone, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care out there.